Hello, welcome back to my channel, Jacqueline's Beauty. So this is all about my question and answer series. So stay tuned. All right, you guys. So this is series question 4. And I'm here with my little baby Quincy. He wants to sit up here with mommy today. So I said, no problem. All right, so question 1. And I'm just cozying up. We're on this whole quarantine thing, and I'm just taking advantage of not having to go outside and just making the most of it. Thanking God for our blessings and what we have. Okay, so question number 1. Which of your bad habits would be the hardest to give up? Oh, wow, that's an interesting question. Let me think. I have to say the habit that would be most difficult for me to give up would be shoe shopping. I am going through withdrawals right now that I can't buy shoes. I love shoes. I give away shoes so that I could buy shoes. And that's a habit that is killing me right now because I can't really shop and get the shoes. I don't spend a whole lot on shoes, but I love shoes. I am totally addicted. Okay, question number 2. What was the best thing that happened to you today? Well, the best thing that happened to me today was that my husband remembered that he promised that he would do a spa day with me today at home. And our spa day basically just consists of we have a foot massager and we have a massager that you put your arms through and it goes on the back of your neck or on your back, or you can put it on your legs even. And so we did about 30 minutes each, and then he had to go back to work and I had to get busy filming. So that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me today. And that Quincy was feeling kind of bad. He had a couple episodes of throwing up the last few days, and I was just dreading having to take him to a hospital or vet, but he's better now, so that made my day as well. Okay, what word is a lot of fun to say? Okay, I think for me, it's not fun to say it, but I'm like, Lord have mercy. I say it all the time, and people remind me that I'm saying that. So my favorite word to say is Lord have mercy. Okay. Okay, number 4. What languages do you wish you could speak? Well, I must say I've been studying Italian for probably a decade, and I speak very little Italian. And I just don't have the time to really pick it up again. But that is the language that I would love to learn how to speak. I tried to learn German when I lived in Germany. It is extremely difficult. I don't think I learned 2 words, maybe 9 and good morgen, good morgen. That's it. Okay, so Italian. What's your back in the day we did? Okay, so what's your back in my day? We used to, back in my day, we used to go out and hang out all night, stay out, go to the after parties, okay, until the break of dawn, and then I would sneak back into my mama's house, okay. Let's see, number 6. Funniest story involving a car. Let me see. Funniest story involving a car. Oh my gosh. Well, I kid you not, I have so many stories involving a car. I think the funniest one, I must say, and really it's not even funny, it's kind of scary, but I was in Los Angeles. At the time I had really super bad road rage, trust and believe. Ask my friends, they'll tell you. And I was with my ex-fiance, he's Swedish, and we were driving down South Pasadena, going to have dinner. And I kid you not, this guy started blowing his horn behind me, and I was just furious. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to pass me? What's going on here? So, oh my God, I kid you not. I turned my car this way in front of him and I said, I dare you, get out. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Get out. And I kid you not, the guy was terrified. And I think he was in the car with his kids. Oh, Lord have mercy, okay? And at the time, my fiance, Pele, he says, we gotta get you out of California, okay? All right, so the next one, number 7, what's the most amazing true story you've heard? Oh, wow, that's a good one. Let me think. I would have to say, what's the most amazing true story? Well, one would be the story that I heard about Nina Simone. I love Nina Simone. I've been a fan of hers for many, many years. I think a good friend of mine in New York introduced me to Nina Simone probably a decade ago. And once I saw her documentary and it portrayed her real life experiences, and then I realized the lyrics to her song were so personal and truthful, that was an amazing true story for me. Okay, number 8, what brand are you most loyal to? Oh, I have to say there's a few. But I think I'm most loyal to, as far as shoes, Zara. As far as makeup, Black Opal. As far as clothes, I'd have to say Zara also. Fragrance, I'm most loyal to Burberry, I must say. Okay, number 9. What's the most recent show? What's the most recent show you've been watched? Oh, wow. One I'm not even proud of, but I must say, since I've been in this house, I've been watching everything, like literally everything. I love documentaries. We have Netflix. I am hooked on Netflix, trust and believe. But I've been binge watching The First 48. Okay, I used to watch that when it first came out and I was hooked. Then I was like, wait a minute, I can't keep watching this. It's all these poor Black people. But then I was like, okay, you got to give me credit. Watch the show. So I'm watching it and I'm just hooked again. It's ridiculous. It's literally ridiculous, okay? Okay, so number 10, what's your haunted house story? Trust and believe, I have some serious haunted house stories. I'll make this quick because this video is a little long, but I have to do my 10 stories. I have to do my 10 questions. I have to. Okay, so let me tell you. Here we go. I used to always want to be in a horror movie, okay? I used to do some acting in Los Angeles, and I had my agent, I had my portfolio, I had my SAG, everything, okay? So then at this point, my agent, he didn't send me on this call. I found it myself. I think it was on Craigslist or Backpage or something like that. And there was this director that was actually looking for someone to play in a vampire movie. And I was like, oh, please, let me do it. I can do it. Okay. So I went on this audition. It was in the hills in Los Angeles. Beautiful area, gated community. It was this big, huge mansion. And rarely do I go to auditions without letting somebody know. And I told my sister, I said, I'm going to this place. My agent didn't give it to me. I'm going on my own. So if you don't hear from me in like 15 minutes, call the police, okay? This is the address. So I get up to the door and I knock on the door and I'm like, oh man, this is kind of crazy. So I knock on the door and the guy opens, and you know how you turn around and I'm paying attention. I'm like, where am I? Okay, this is kind of weird. So I'm looking the other way, and then all of a sudden I turn back around. This man is standing right there. I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm here for the audition for a vampire. And he's like, oh yes, come right in, come right in. And I was like, oh, where, you know, this is the house. Oh my God, there's nobody else here. So he lets me go first. He's like, oh, we're going in that way. So at this point, he's behind me. And I'm like, okay, that's mistake number 2. He's behind me. I usually always walk behind, okay? So at this point, we go into the kitchen. It's this beautiful, elaborate dining table. We sit down and he says, well, how long have you been interested in, you know, vampires? I said, well, I'm really just interested in being in a horror film. I've always wanted to play this role. And I said, so, you know, I've been fascinated with vampires, blah, 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 blah. And so he says, okay. He says, well, then let me go over what we're looking for. I said, okay, perfect. He says, well, it's kind of changed from a fictional movie. Wait a minute now. From a fictional movie to a documentary. He says, so we're actually looking for people who have tasted blood, that are real vampires. And I was like, oh, hold tight, hold tight. I said, no, sir, I'm sorry. I'm not a vampire. I'm not a real vampire. I said, how did it go from a fictional movie, a horror movie, to a documentary? He says, well, you know, in LA, there are a lot of people that are into this. They actually drink blood. I was like, oh no. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm the wrong person. This is not something that I'm interested in doing. He's like, okay. He says, well, you know, if you ever really get into it, you let me know. I was like, okay. I said, well, thank you so much. I said, well, I guess I'll go now. And imagine I had to get up, stand up, walk out of that house without being killed or bit or something. I was like, oh, Lord, if you get me out of here, I will never do this again. So then he lets me out and I get out and my heart is just like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm saying to myself, what is happening in this town? So I get in my car, I start to cry because I couldn't believe what happened. I call my sister and I'm like, you won't believe it, I made it out alive. So that's my haunted house story, because in my opinion, that was a haunted ass house, okay? So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this little questions video. Please click the JB and subscribe to this happy little family. Click the bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Don't forget to follow me there. Also, check out Jacqueline's Beauty Blog. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Remember to subscribe to my channel, Jacqueline's Beauty, and join this happy little family. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.